Hi guys, welcome back. This is going to be the third and the final video for Entity Framework 6. So this is where we stopped. So now this line of code here is actually reading from the database. Okay, so we already have the values from this table, these values already from this table, TBL students is already read, and this variable students is holding that table, the values from the table. Now we need to actually get those values into our model. Like, so we created this model, this student model. We need to transfer those values from the table to the Visual Studio model to hold it for us. Okay, so basically we are passing the values now from database. We are telling database, okay, this is where you stop. We are passing those values from database now to the model in our solution, which is now student model. So to do that, we need to create a new object of the students, just a single object. The first one we created was a list, student list, so that's why now we need to create a single object. I'm going to call this one just a model. Okay, new student object. Okay, so that student model comes there. Now we have to map, so we have to do mapping model dot so I'm going to start. I want to start with the student ID. So now this student dot student ID. Okay, so this is the list, and then this is a single instance of the list, so it's single instance. So for each of these students, I want to get a single instance, and I want to map it right here. So this is coming from database, this one here is coming from database, and this one is our model that we created, value in our model that we created. Okay, so I'm going to do another one again, model dot. So this time around I want to do first name, student dot first name. Okay, model dot last name, student dot last name, model dot email, student dot email, and then finally model dot department equals to students dot department. Okay, so now we have a single model. Okay, now for each time it loops, you loop through this student object, this student list. Each time you loop it, you want to add the values that you got from the database into this list, into the list. Okay, so you add it to the list each time you loop it, so the list keeps growing. If you have like 5, if you have like 2, 3, or 10, the list will just keep adding it each time you loop it. In our own case, we have 3, so it's going to loop 3 times. It's going to loop 3 times. Each time you loop it, you map the values from the database to our model, and then you add it to this list we created here. And then what you have to do now is return this list to the view. Okay, return this list to the view. Alright, now everything is done as far as reading the code and reading the values from database. Everything is actually done using Entity Framework. So this is like Entity Framework, we just added it, and then we read it using this link query. Okay, this now we have to create the view to actually display this in the website, in the page. So I'm going to do this in the index application. I'm going to in index view. I'm going to create an index view. Okay, so basically this is going to create on the home controller index view. So it says empty, the template is empty without model. No, I don't want empty. I actually want a list. I want it to be a list. Okay, so I want it to be like a table, a list, and I want it to have a model. Yes, so we created a model, student model. Yes, I want this one. Everything else is okay, just leave everything else. Use a page layout. Yes, so this one is just telling you to use the default page layout. that is true. So just add this one. Well, for basics, for just for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm not going to change too much here. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. But here I want to change this to students. I want to change that to students. Student list. Okay. So right here, what do we have? Actually, I don't want to delete anything. I don't want to delete anything. I just want to leave it the way it is, like this. Okay, I don't even want to edit anything. I just maybe we'll just leave the details. Okay, so let's leave it like this. Okay, so all right. Okay, so I think everything is set now. Let's run the code to see if we actually going to get the students student list. Okay, let's wait and see if everything looks correct to me. Let's see if we can actually pull out the student list and display it in a table format. If we all right. Okay, dogs. Okay, it's coming up. Just give it some time. Okay, this is taking some time as well. I guess the first time it loads, it takes a little bit of time because it needs to make database connection. Okay, so we have an error in this code. No connection string named entity named ef2db could be found in the application configuration file. Okay, so this is a very common error. So it's complaining that we do not have the connection string from the database layer in this project, in our web project. So we have it right here, but we don't have it right here. Okay, so what we can do is we need to go back to this app config. Okay, to this app config, we need to copy this connection string, this one right here, and then we need to put it here in this web config of our web application. So we have this default connection string. We need to tell this particular project about our new database that we created the connection string. We need to add it. Okay, otherwise it doesn't know how to connect. This web project doesn't know how to connect to our database we created. So let's run it again, and that should fix the error we had. Okay, I'm gonna close this one. Okay, okay, so it's loading the information in the database. So if you're typing along, you can pause the video and type, follow along and type along. This is a very simple tutorial. It's meant for people that are just learning Entity Framework and people that are actually just learning MVC, and you want to actually create a table database and then connect to your MVC application. So here you go. We have the student list, John Doe, email, physics department, and then the details. I'm not going to implement this. Well, maybe we might implement this if we have a little bit of time. Okay, so there you go. Right, there you go. Now you can create a new table, you can create a new student, but we haven't implemented that yet. I'm gonna try to take this a little bit further and implement these details. Like, sometimes people, like, you want to